Hey guys, welcome back to Peace Pop. This is our first podcast all on our own with our own segments and our own... I'm so excited. I'm Bergin.
And I'm Alex.
And we're going to start off with our Bachelor recap. So let's get straight into it. We're in week 4. Demi and Courtney drama.
Cool, that was the big drama of the week.
I know. Demi goes and is trying to help Courtney. I think Demi was genuinely trying to give Courtney advice.
Bad.
Yeah, so she's trying to give her advice, being like, hey, you need to be proactive, especially in cocktail parties in that situation. You need to be proactive and go ask for time.
Because Courtney was just sitting there complaining how she wasn't getting any time with Colton and how she wasn't going to get any time with Colton, but she wasn't doing anything about it. She wasn't going and getting time with him.
And that group date had 13 women on it. Yeah. You have to go and be active. So, Demi said that, and then I guess she got up and went to Colton and just thanked him for the discussion that they had, because Demi had revealed that her mom just got out of federal prison.
And he took it well.
Colton's, really good at taking, hard things. He's a really good listener. And then she goes on and says that... yeah, so that whole drama or whatever, and then the night ends, and she doesn't get any time because...
And Courtney gets mad that Demi had double time.
And she took that straight to heart and thought that Demi was out to get her, when Demi was really just doing Demi.
Yeah, I don't think she was going out to get her.
I'm liking Demi more and more as these weeks go on, because she's just proving to be that she's just doing her thing, and she's getting time when she wants to get time, and...
I don't want her to end up with Colton, but I think she's a good contender, but I don't want her to end up with
I don't think she's going to end up with Colton, but I don't think she's being malicious.
No, I don't either.
Courtney is thinking that she's being.
Yeah.
I think Courtney's just reading too much into the situation. And then at the cocktail party before the rose ceremony, Demi was like, Courtney's the cancer of the house, which I think are very extreme words.
Very strong words.
And I think was blown out of proportion.
Why would you, and, we talked about this last week with Kaylin and Hannah B. But, why would you go in... You have such a small amount of time with Colton. Why would you go and talk about someone else?
And that's,
even if it is true, even if she is causing issues, don't go and talk about someone else.
That's Bachelor suicide.
Yes, that's not a good idea ever.
Bachelor golden rule, cardinal rule, that you do not use your limited time with Bachelor, Bachelorette, or whatever to talk about another contestant.
You're just doing yourself.
And that just basically means that your time on the show is limited.
Well, and that you're paying more attention to someone else than you are to Colton.
And this is the one time in Bachelor history that it's worked.
Yeah.
And Courtney got sent home. So I was like, well, Demi...
Because of what Demi said.
Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Alrighty then. Yeah. So next thing was Kaylin and Hannah B drama. They made up.
They did make up, which I was surprised. I knew eventually Kaylin was going to be like, hey, let's make up. But I didn't think Hannah was going to take it well. I thought Hannah was going to be like, I'm not making up with you.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised she took it as well as she did.
I don't know. I kind of like Hannah B too.
I like her. I liked her from the very beginning.
I think the whole situation.
The whole same thing where she said something to Colton. I'm like, just leave it.
I think
yes, you guys were friends and you guys aren't anymore. Just leave it.
And it's just all he said, she said. There was no actual concrete this is what happened between the two of us. So I was like, this is all just stupid. I'm just over it.
This before, I'm curious if they're for the Miss USA, if they have videos of stuff going on.
I don't know, but it was just he said, she said. Over it, they got moved on, and they're just gonna go in their relationship separately. And Colton is just saying, I know you two don't like each other. I don't really care. Just don't let it interfere with our relationship.
Yeah.
And let it be independent. Yeah, and then the next big thing that happened was Kaylin opened up to... Well, Kaylin got a one-on-one.
Yes.
And then...
the one-on-one was awesome.
She got shopping.
Spree. What the heck?
Oh, she was spoiled to the T.
That was probably my favorite. I really liked the one-on-one with Elise, but I think this one was my favorite just because she got all these free stuff. In Singapore. You can't get much better than that.
Yeah, and then... So she comes back to the apartment, hotel room, whatever they're in, where they're staying in Singapore, and... all the girls are obviously jealous of all the stuff she just got, and how Colton spoiled her, because that's technically all their boyfriend did something for another woman. Yeah. And then she gets ready, goes to dinner, and at dinner with him, she opens up about being sexually abused in college, and it was some heavy stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Definitely. I already knew some of it.
just because I had watched a compilation on YouTube of her competing in Miss USA, and she opened up about that on the Miss USA stage.
I saw it on her Instagram, so I knew what it was going to be about.
So, like, we all kind of knew what it was going to be about, which I think was good, so I could mentally prepare for that heavy weight conversation. Because I think that's the heaviest conversation we've ever had on Bachelor.
I mean, I think it was a necessary conversation, but we were talking about this before, is I feel like we were saying it might have been better to be later on.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a conversation she needed to have.
I think it was a conversation two of them needed to have. And it was definitely some heavy stuff. And then Colton also opened up about why he's a virgin.
Yeah.
And he was saying that with his ex, who we know is Ali Raisman, that he had been with someone who was a victim and survivor of sexual assault. And it was Ali Raisman with the whole Larry Nassar scandal.
Which he didn't say that, but obviously...
He didn't say that, but that's who we know he was pointing towards. But I just feel like... For me, I feel like that conversation needed to happen later. Mm-hmm. And he said that because he was a virgin, that because she had trouble with the intimacy part of it because of that scar.
Yeah.
That left.
Which makes sense.
Which makes perfect sense.
I mean...
And, like... You kind of realize why, and that he said that was his...
It makes more sense.
And he says that was his first love, and that he wanted to have sex with the person that he loved first, and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I feel like that conversation kind of put Ali Raisman on blast.
Yeah.
And it kind of just, like... Because Ali didn't sign up to be on national television.
Nope.
She didn't, and she kind of got exposed on... this week, and I just feel...
Well, obviously everyone's going to know what it was.
Obviously everyone knows.
It was a big deal when it happened.
Yeah, and it wasn't hard to figure out.
Yeah, no.
And I feel for Allie, and I really feel for Kaylin for opening up, because that's hard, because she did sign up to be on the show, and she did do that on national television. Yeah. Open up about that, and that's crazy.
And that's a lot to open up
about. That's so strong.
That's a lot of vulnerability
and
we're putting out in the world.
And one of the things that she said about it, she's like, every time, the more and more I talk about it, the
easier it gets.
She said that the pieces that I lost, I start to be able to take back. Yeah. And I was like, that's really powerful, and I'm really happy that she's in this place where she can talk about it, and that she is moving past it, but she's also an advocate.
Yeah.
And using her platform. But it still makes me uneasy about Allie getting exposed, because she is a victim.
Well, and maybe, have you seen anything of her saying anything about it? Because
I haven't seen anything.
Because who knows what happened behind the scenes? Maybe he talked to her about it before.
Yeah.
Because they're still friends, I know that.
Yeah.
So maybe he said something like, hey...
Just FYI.
If this comes up, before they even started the show, if this comes up, be prepared that I will say something if I need to about it. So maybe it was a big deal, so obviously people in the world know about it, so maybe it's been a long enough time where maybe she's like, if you need to, you can.
And Allie's a big advocate for changing policies, calling out Michigan State and the U.S. Olympic Committee and all that. She's such a huge advocate, especially for gymnasts, because the gymnastics elite world is so intense, and it
happens a lot.
It's so structured, and that things fall through the cracks and stuff like that shouldn't, and she's just being an advocate for that, and that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So I feel like she is more comfortable talking about it, but I
still think it was something.
It still just makes me uneasy about it.
Since we haven't seen anything, and maybe we'll on the next couple games, I feel like since we haven't seen anything yet, that maybe it was something that they talked about, that if it came up, especially since, obviously, it was going to come up.
It was going to come up.
Then maybe he talked to her about it, and maybe it was okay. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping. It makes me feel better thinking that maybe he did talk to her about it.
Because I feel like these are the conversations that kind of happen in the fantasy suites.
Yes.
Because when you're watching Bachelor and you see, these relationships progress, and then they come out of these fantasy suites, and then they say, oh, we talked about so much stuff, and, I have some, a much more, sense of who he is, and now I'm ready to get married or, engaged and stuff. And it's because they have these deep conversations in those fantasy suites, and these are the conversations that we don't see. And I think it's cool that we shed some light on what happens in the fantasy suites, and, these are the kind of conversations that they have and that happens there. But it just happened week 4. That's just what blew my mind.
Maybe she didn't think she was going to have time. to talk about it, or the courage to talk about it later.
Or she just found that she thought that was the time. And I was like, you know what, good for you, girl. She felt comfortable
in the time and was like, I need to do it now. Yeah.
And, like, as the weeks progress, my, like, love for Colton, I love him now.
I
do
too.
Like, honestly,
I wasn't positive about him at the beginning.
When he was chosen as Bachelor, I'm not going to lie, I was a little PO'd because I feel like there were better options.
Yeah.
And I feel like they were just choosing him for his virgin status.
Yeah.
And
I totally agree.
I was, like, looking at Jason or Blake or any of the other guys from last season of Bachelorette. And there were so many people I put above him that I was just like, I don't really like him as Bachelor. And then all the promos started coming out about, like, whoa, what does he have to lose?
I definitely like him now. He's
getting at his, getting at his virgin stuff. And then as, like, the weeks go on and he's fed up with all the virgin talk, and then he's just, like, progressing and just, like, killing it as Bachelor.
I love him.
He's such a good listener. He's, like, so heartfelt, and he's not
dealing. He seems super fun. Like, it's just.
And he's not dealing with the drama. Like, he doesn't do the drama. He doesn't allow it. No, which I think is awesome. So, yeah. So that's our recap of week 4 on Bachelor. I think the next thing that we want to go into is something that's happening now in pop culture. Ariana Grande got a tattoo.
She did, for her new single.
For her new single, 7 Rings. And she thought it said 7 rings, but it actually says barbecue girl.
In Japanese.
In Japanese.
And it's on the palm of her hand.
Yeah, it's on the inside palm of her hand, like underneath her index and middle finger.
Off, why would you ever get a tattoo there?
That's a very weird place. And I bet it was painful.
Oh, so painful. Or maybe ticklish. Who even knows? But, like, because it was a thing in high school, me and my softball team, when we all graduated, we were going to get our softball numbers, like, on the inside of our ring, or our pointer finger.
Yeah.
And when we went to go look into it, they all were like, no, don't do it because it'll rub off.
Yeah, because.
So I'm thinking, like, there's no way that's going to stay, because obviously you use the palm of your hand.
Yeah, well, they say, like, the extremities, like your toes, your feet, your hands, and your fingers, those are, like, the hardest places to have tattoos because the skin there replaces so frequently.
Yeah, so I'm like, there's no way that's going to be there very long. But then, like, even if you look at pictures.
Yeah.
I was looking at pictures just to see what it looks like. But it's crazy. Like, I was seeing on Instagram, like, she posted a picture of it. And someone commented, like, your hand looks plastic. And I think it's because her hand's so swollen from it.
Yeah, probably.
Like,
and
it's
then
pretty.
And then she goes back to get it fixed. And now apparently, I mean, obviously I don't read Japanese.
Yeah, me neither.
But I read on a couple different sources that it says Japanese barbecue finger. And I was like, whoa, that's a little worse than the barbecue grill.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my discussion question for this was like, what would you ever get a tattoo in a different language?
I mean, like, I'm Cuban, so I would maybe get one in Spanish, but obviously I would make sure I know what it means.
Yeah.
And, like, she's not Japanese, is she?
I don't think so.
I don't either. So my thing is, like, okay, there's a ton of people who get, like, tattoos in Japanese and different languages. And I'm like, why wouldn't you make sure it says what, like, like, I feel like I'm going to check right now to see if, like, what it says on Google Translate, but, like, she had to have.
Yeah.
Like, just checked Google Translate, or who knows, or trusted whoever was there.
Yeah.
But I could never.
I mean, like, I am as white as it comes. Like, I'm Irish and Italian and Scottish. Like, I don't have any, and I don't really have any ties to, like, oh, I want to get something Italian, written on my body.
Would you say that it says?
Barbecue grill. But.
I'm looking it up, seeing.
Yeah, Google Translate's only works so hard.
Google Translate's worse. Let's see what 7 rings is in Google Translate. Maybe that's what she did and thought.
Well, yeah, for me, I don't think I would get a tattoo anytime soon.
Okay, we're going to look at this because that's what 7 is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, she definitely put it into Google Translate because, look, there's 7.
Yeah. Well, wrapping up this discussion, I personally would never get anything in a different language on my body, but I mean, you do you, girlfriend, and now apparently you've got Japanese barbecue finger on your hand, but if you think it says 7 rings, you just go with that, because not a lot of people read Japanese here in America.
No, who's going to look at her? Not many people are going to see it, because it's on the freaking palm of her hand.
Yeah.
So, at least it's hidden.
So that wraps up Ariana Grande. So our next discussion point is going to be a little more serious. I just want to talk about, like, the stigma around women watching, like, football, and especially the Super Bowl Sunday this Sunday, how we only watch it for the, like, Super Bowl commercials and the halftime show. Maroon 5 is playing this year. And I'm just, like, personally, I am a huge Eagles fan. Like, huge. And I genuinely like watching football. Like, that is one of my favorite sports. I'm a
Saints fan and I like watching football. So
like, that's one of my favorite things. Like, one of my favorite sports to watch is football. And, like, just, like, game day Sunday, like, you got your food, you got your nachos, you got, like, sweet tea, you got everything, you got wings, pizza, like, the whole nine. And then you've got football, and you're hanging out with, like, your friends. And it's, like, this whole, like, social event. But also, like, I just love the game.
Yeah.
And, like, I get super into it. I mean, we watched... Okay, listen. In our apartment, so me and Alex are roommates. And in our apartment, it was the Eagles versus Saints game.
Yes.
And the Eagles tragically lost. And we didn't speak for a couple hours, but it's fine. But, like, the two of us were, like, super into it. And, like, we had our friends around us. Yeah, we went all out, bro. And, like, I had my Eagles beanie on. I had my sweatshirt. I had my shirt. I had, like, everything. I got my socks on.
I had my Saints gear on.
Yeah, like, we were, like, decked out, ready to go. And we're, like, watching the game. And we've got, like, a bunch of, like, our guy friends around us just, like, chirping at us. And especially me, because they all of a sudden, like, are like, oh, you're an Eagles fan.
They were all rooting for the Saints.
Yeah, they were all rooting for the Saints. And then there I am. They're just, like, chirping at me. And they were, like, chirping at me in the first quarter when we were up by 2 touchdowns.
The Saints were losing already.
Yeah, I was like, what is up with that? I was like, why are you chirping me? Like, leave me alone. But, like, I just want to, like, girls can watch football, too.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I like watching football.
I love football. And for me, like, the halftime show just adds to the whole Super Bowl ambiance.
I will say that, like...
It's just a part of the whole Sunday.
Certain years of the Super Bowl, I will watch just for the halftime show. If it's, like...
Teams you don't like.
Teams that I really don't like. So, like...
Pats, for example.
Yeah, for the Pats.
Hate them.
The Falcons. I hate the Falcons.
If you listen to Peace Talks, you can listen about my hatred for the Pats and Tom Brady and Goodell on that.
So it just depends. And then if I'm super... Like, in high school, we always had softball tournaments during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I would never watch Super Bowl and record it and wouldn't want to watch the whole game on recording. So I would just watch the halftime show. But now that I don't have softball, I like watching it. Like, I like watching football.
And it's like... I love Sunday Night Football. I love Monday Night Football. Yeah. And it just adds, like, the Super Bowl is just a special Sunday Night Football.
It's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
So an excuse to eat a bunch of good food.
Oh, so much good food.
But I will say I am excited about the Maroon 5 halftime show.
Yeah, I'm excited to see
Maroon
that.
5. Adam Levine.
Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah.
And I do like the Super Bowl commercials. They do have some good ones.
I actually have homework I have to do for the Super Bowl commercials for one of my comm classes.
Watching them. But the commercials are fun. I like watching them.
Yeah. So I think, like, the stigma is that women only focus on the commercials and the halftime show. But we like football, too.
And I feel like nowadays a lot of women like football just as much as the guys do.
And I feel like we're just being more vocal about it.
Yeah.
Because we finally feel like it's okay. Because, like, before we're like, oh, we're just women. We don't like football. We don't like sports or whatever. And, like, there are some women that don't. And there are some men that don't like sports.
Yeah.
But, like...
Yeah, see?
Andre, one of our other co-hosts on Peace Talks, he's a man and you don't like football?
I never liked football.
Never liked it?
Hated it. He's an Eagles fan, ironically, too.
Is he really? I didn't know that.
He's from
He's from
there,
Philly? Oh, my entire mom's side is from Philadelphia. I love Philly with all my heart. But, yeah. So, like, there are, like, men out there, there are women out there who don't like sports, and there are also a lot of women and a lot of men that do like sports. So I'm just, like, having that, like, conversation about, like, just breaking those stigmas and breaking those stereotypes needs to be had, and I'm glad that we have a place to have those convos here on Peace Pop. And we are missing Caitlin this week because she is driving her brother to the airport because she is a wonderful sister.
She will be back next week.
She'll be back next week, but for now... We're going to say...
Yes, but before we say bye, I do want to suggest something that me and Caitlin were talking about.
Okay.
Maybe we do this for the Peace Talks. We were thinking maybe, sometimes we have hard times coming up with discussions for Peace Pop, just because there's a lot going on and we don't know what you guys want to hear.
Yeah.
So we will put a poll on the Peace Times social media and on our individual social medias about topics you guys want us to talk about next week. Yeah. And we'll take those into consideration so we can start to get new ideas in.
And I know that we have some interest from some other students here at Peace that want to be on the podcast. So this is a shout out to everybody that wants to come on to Peace Pop. We are more than welcome to have you. Just let us know, email us, or contact us through Peace Times Instagram, DM us saying that, oh, I want to be on the podcast, so we know. And like, if you want to be on Peace Talks, or you want to be on Peace Pop, you just let us know, because we are so open and like welcome to anybody that wants to be on Peace Pop, Peace Talks, whatever. Even if you just want to be a special guest, you decide what you want to do, and we'll work with you. So until next time, I'm Bergin.
And I'm Alex.
So peace out.